All right. So when we're approaching open enrollment with a new account, the first thing that we're going to do is launch a pretty hefty communication campaign. And usually the first thing that we do is we actually mail out a hard mailer postcard that's, it's high quality paper, high quality print, and it basically says, hey, open enrollment is coming. Here's what you need to know. And it's kind of an introduction that, hey, this process is about to happen. And what we do is we direct the employees to a microsite that'll look something like this, that's branded by, it's got the company brand and logo and all of that stuff. And this is part of the pre-enrollment engagement process. What we want to have happen here is we want the employees to come in to this website and register. And when they do, all we're really trying to do here is capture a few pieces of information: name, cell phone number, and how they like to be communicated with. So do they want emails? No, I'll prefer text messages, and then I want everything in English. They'll hit the registration button, and when they do that, hold on, this little drop down menu for Zoom keeps coming down and blocking my bars up here. All right, so once they hit the registration button, this is what's going to pop up. And what we've essentially done here is created a little resource page for them to understand how this is going to take place. And the idea is to kind of mitigate challenges that people might have logging in, enrolling, et cetera, because we want to maximize the amount of people that actually go through the process, right? So we've created like a short video on exactly how to log in, exactly how to enroll. Here's what the benefits guru is. That's the decision support tool I mentioned. Here's what this is and how it works. Here's the CI accident bundle. We call it the benefits enhancer bundle. And, we can put whatever else we want out here. So like here's a hospital plan, for example. They can get a better understanding of some of their other benefits by clicking this. But this is part of the engagement process. While this is happening, what we're going to be doing is sending out anywhere from, 4 to 6 additional communication pieces leading up to the open enrollment that, might say, hey, you've got new plan designs this year, new plan offerings, or don't forget open enrollment starts on January 1st, or, just different kind of drip pieces that make sure that we're getting their attention. And we can, obviously we can check, open rates and read rates and all of that to make sure that people are paying attention to what's going on. But the idea is just to drive engagement as we lead up to the open enrollment period itself. I mentioned text messaging earlier. I'm a big fan of that because I just know how the world is today and we're all glued to our phones. Our system is also completely compatible with any kind of mobile device out there. So it'll intuitively know, if you're logging in from a mobile phone or a tablet, which mobile phone platform it is. So, is your operating system Android based? Is it an Apple platform? Et cetera, et cetera. And it will automatically reconfigure itself to fit on that device so that it's not like shrinking down a website onto your tiny phone screen. So the point is, people can enroll in their benefits on this system at anywhere, at any location, at any point in time from their cell phone. So, for anybody that, types of industries where people are mobile or out and about, this is a great tool for them because they can, conduct their enrollment when the moment is right. They don't have to be sitting in front of a computer. But anyway,
at this point, they haven't created. Okay, here they're going to create an account.
Yeah, so we're actually going to provide them login credentials, and they're going to come here and.
So after they gave you that initial information, you're emailing them with login.
Yes, we will provide them with their login credentials, how they'll enroll. What it's consistent across the board. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. I think it's like, your first initial, last name, last 4 of your social, something along those lines. I can't remember exactly, but we tell them there's a formula and they just use the formula. Don't pay any attention to this screen. This is actually an admin view. I'm going to find an employee to show you how to enroll so that you'll see what their user experience is like. But this is something that, you know, an admin would see. But when an employee logs in, the first thing the employee is going to see is this. And now we're into the enrollment now. This is, you know, them going through the process. The first screen that they're going to see is, hey, welcome to your open enrollment. You know, we got a progress meter up here, the company's brand, a giant red banner that says you're not done, how many days they have left to enroll. Here's a digital library with documents and things that could be helpful. Here's how they flip the entire platform from English to Spanish. And it not only changes all of the written word on the technology, but it also changes all of the spoken word in all of the videos. And I'll show you that in a second. But you know, effective date, plan year, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm gonna show you a couple of other videos, so I'm not gonna make you watch this one, but we'll get to the other ones. So the first screen that the employee is going to be taken to is, you know, their personal information, and most of this will be pre-populated from the census that we have, and we can let the employee make edits in whatever fields, you know, the group wants them to be able to make edits in, and lock the fields that we don't want them to be able to make edits in. And sometimes, you know, the administrators at a client of ours might say, hey, look, actually, we're missing, you know, email addresses on half of our employee base, or cell phone numbers on half of our employee base. We want to make that field mandatory because we need to collect that information. So sometimes they'll leverage this as a way to actually collect data about their own employees. On the next screen, you know, dependent information, so they can, you know, add, remove, edit dependents as they see necessary. I'm going to click the next button here, and then the video for the Guru, the decision support tool I mentioned, is automatically going to start. I'm going to let you guys watch that, and then after it's over, I'm going to kind of talk you through what just happened and how it actually works, like what data is being processed in the background that delivers the results that you're going to see.
The Benefits Guru is a decision support tool designed to help you get the most out of your insurance choices in just a few simple steps. First, tell us which family members you are planning on covering. Next, assign a health grade to each covered member. Select excellent, moderate, or poor health. Finally, indicate whether you or your spouse use tobacco and click Continue to submit your answers. Based on your answers, the Benefits Guru will show you the coverage options available to you and rank the plans that may be the best fit for you and your family. You will see a breakdown of costs, including how much is going to come out of your check each pay period, and get a detailed out-of-pocket summary by clicking on the pie chart. To learn more about each of these plans, an informational video and plan documents are just a click away. You will also see which additional available plans might match up best with your available health plans, and even provide a recommended contribution to your HSA or FSA if applicable. Just make sure to click the Save button under your preferred plans. When you are ready, click on the Continue button to begin enrolling in these benefits, or you can further customize your experience by using the Fine-Tune tool. The Fine-Tune tool allows you to take into account how many prescriptions you use monthly, how many doctor appointments you have on average, and whether you have any surgeries or medical procedures planned. Using the tool helps to ensure you get coverage best suited to your unique needs. Click Continue to submit your answers, and you will be taken to a page where you can select which plan best meets your needs and enroll in coverage.
So that is the high-level overview of what the Guru does. All right, get rid of that. And now let's talk about how it actually works. So basically here we've got, you know, the World Health Organization's definition of health status, just to create some level of consistency. And so the employee has to make 3 decisions here. Who all do they want to cover on the plan? What is the relative health status of each one of those individuals? And then, do either of the parents use tobacco? When I click Continue, here's what just took place. So we have partnered with Milliman, and what we do is we take the demographic information of an individual that we already know because it's populated on the census as we load it into the system. And when somebody fills out this information, we take the three things that they just completed along with their demographic profile that we also kind of used that I was talking about earlier to determine which version of the videos, that they're going to receive or view. But that information gets sent off to Milliman to compare it against a 20 million person claims database. And basically what that claims database gives us the ability to do is know with a fair degree of certainty what this specific person's medical experience might be like at this given year in their life. So we know Joe Bob, 47 years old, married with 3 kids, lives in this zip code, makes $120,000 a year, blah, 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 blah. He is likely to have a health experience that looks similar to XYZ based on the data that Milliman has from people that are in his similar stage of life, right? Based on that, we then bounce that information off of the exact plan designs that are being offered, and the guru makes a cost comparison of what this employee can expect to spend out of pocket on each one of the health plans that are being offered. So in this case, this one's the least expensive here at $6,221.08 a year total out-of-pocket spend. That includes their premium payments. And it makes a good, better, best recommendation. So like this one's the best. That this EPO over here is the second best, and then PPO in this case would be the worst. They can get additional information by clicking, these little icons like the eye. Like here's a health savings account video because this is an HDHP plan, or they can click this pie chart and it'll show them what their actual spend breakout is going to look like based on what the guru has calculated and determined and Milliman says it should look like. But let's say that they think that maybe it's a little bit off. Maybe their life is unique. They've got a unique situation and they want to adjust what is being fed into the tool. So they can come to this fine-tune button here and tweak all of this. So they could say, my son, who I put in poor health, has to go to the doctor once a week because he's got a chronic condition. So I'm going to ratchet up these doctor visits. My wife and my son, between the two of them, they got about 10 prescriptions. We really don't have any lab equipment. My son goes to the doctor typically about once a month for an outpatient visit, and he's got 2 surgeries planned this year where he'll have to stay overnight. So 4 inpatient days. I'm going to hit continue. It's going to recalculate everything. It may or may not make a new plan recommendation based on the changes. In this case, it did not. But what it will do is recalculate everything. And like if we go back to the pie chart, you can see here that it recalculated the out-of-pocket spend by category based on the criteria adjustments that I just made. So that in a nutshell is how the guru works. And when the employee is ready to make a determination, this is actually not the enrollment screen. This is just them making the guru making a recommendation. So they're going to save the recommendation. And when they move forward, this is going to be the enrollment screen. So down here is where they'll actually elect what tier they want, enroll in the plan. But before they even get there, what we have essentially done here is created a self-paced learning environment. So the employee can click on these different videos and, I don't know if you've noticed, but we actually put the video link down here so that they're not wondering, am I about to watch a 10-minute video and then not watch it? Because that's probably what would happen. But, here's where it'll explain what an EPO is and how their EPO works, et cetera. If they go down here to the Tell Me More button, they can see how their network works and what their deductibles are and copays and what coinsurance is and how that operates and, all these different elements of, health coverage. So we've taken them and kind of chopped them up into bite-sized pieces so that employees can focus on the specific questions that they might have about how all this works. And it's all delivered through video. And once they're content and they find that they've got the coverage that they're looking at that they want, they click the enroll button and it'll move them on to the next screen.
So, hey, Chris, does the benefit enhancer bundle factor into the estimated out of pocket?
No, it does not.
Might be something you guys think about. I bet you'd sell
yeah.
a lot more of it.
That's not a bad suggestion.
Yeah. Said if you buy the bundle enhancer, it's going to lower your out of pocket by a couple $1,000, and the cost is, $200 a year.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea because I love that pie chart and how, you're going to get a visual of your estimated, your maximum, your annual.
You already know what the expense is coming from accidents, what's the expense coming from hospital. It should be relatively easy to calc where the benefit enhancer bundle is going to provide back benefit. And you just say, based on your estimated usage, the benefit enhancer bundle is going to return to you in cash, $2,000.
Yeah, that's a fantastic idea.
Okay, for every policy, I get a little spiff then for every additional policy you guys sell.
Just call it the Hoffman analysis or something.
Yeah.
That's all he needs.
A Hoffman analysis.
A high price consultant would have just charged $10,000 for that.
Sorry, I'm taking a note here. Okay. All right. Good suggestion. So speaking of the bundle, here's the bundle. So, it's designed to complement the out-of-pocket. It's designed to cover the out-of-pocket expenses as we were just talking about that come along with the healthcare coverage. Co-pays, co-insurance, deductibles, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm gonna play this video for you. And then what I'm going to do afterwards is I actually have a side-by-side video of two of the different consumer profile versions of this same video. So you can kind of see some of the subtle changes between two different versions. Just kind of, it's just kind of neat to see, but I'll play this one first.
Benefits Enhancer Bundle helps you take a tough situation, like an injury or major illness, and make it easier to handle by paying you extra cash while you work it through. This is a simple, popular plan that enhances your health insurance. Having extra money means you can have fewer financial worries as you take each step along the way to putting injuries or serious illnesses behind you. Use the benefits from this plan however you want, for co-pays, deductibles, even other bills. Let's take a look at your plan documents to see exactly what's covered. Remember that during your enrollment for this year only, these benefits are being offered on a guarantee issue basis. This means that regardless of your current or past health issues, you won't be declined coverage. If you decline this year and decide later that you would like to participate, you and your family will be subject to individual underwriting to qualify. We know you'll want to get back to normal everyday living as quickly as possible, so don't let these kinds of unexpected health problems drag things out. The Benefits Enhancer Bundle, because extra cash is always welcomed. Click the button below to check it out.
So, it'll freeze frame back here at the, kind of the description of the different plan options. So we've designed it to kind of mirror the enrollment look and feel of the major medical plan. So it's kind of recommended on a good, better, best basis based on what they enrolled in and what the guru is telling them. But let me show you this quick side-by-side version. So on the left one, this one is tailored towards kind of a know-it-all type, and this one's tailored more towards a goal-focused, goal-oriented individual. So I'm going to play it, and it's just a snippet of each version. It's not the full videos, but you can kind of see some of the subtle differences.
Your employer is offering a special new plan called the Benefits Enhancer Bundle. We call it that because it enhances your coverage for a broad range of possible health events. It's a state-of-the-art program that gives you lots of flexibility in maneuvering financially between what your health insurance pays and what you may have to pay by putting cash directly into your pocket. employer is offering a special new program designed by insurance experts called the Benefits Enhancer Bundle. It's a powerful tool that enhances your coverage to help you stay in charge of how you fight back against an injury or a serious illness. It provides cash on top of whatever your health insurance pays, and you can use that money however you want. It pays when you have an accident, or if you get diagnosed with a critical illness like cancer, or if you have a heart attack or a stroke or certain other.
Did you catch the differences?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's subtle, but I can see based on the profile why it would make sense.
Yeah. So I'm not a psychiatrist. I'll leave that work up to them. But they say that, those specific versions are tailored towards those different personalities for whatever reason. But it works. It has an impact. It drives participation. It drives engagement, and it makes, the enrollment experience that much more unique and that much more effective. I'll also add from the video point of view that I don't know what the quality of the video is looking like on your guys' end, but if it's buffering or if it's choppy or anything like that, it's because we're doing this through a Zoom call. Normally, the way that we actually deliver the video content, the videos are not embedded in the system themselves. They're actually housed and delivered through a dynamic content delivery network, which is really just kind of a fancy way of saying a souped up server. And it's delivered in real time, so that server actually can read the device and the bandwidth of the internet and all the things that are happening as somebody's going through the experience. And it'll format the video to deliver an optimal performance, so that there's no buffering and choppiness and stuff like that. So if it has to draw back on the quality because their bandwidth is really low or something along those lines, the system will automatically do that. We find that when people have buffering and choppiness, they tend to not finish the videos. But here's another cool feature. We actually can heat map everything that's happening within the technology down to the click. So we know as an enrollment is going on, who's clicking on what, who's watching what videos, how long are they watching those videos for. We can take that data and analyze it. And if we happen to have a segment of the population for one reason or another that's not engaged, that's not participating, not going through the enrollment, we can actually identify that and then create a secondary marketing campaign targeted at that segment of the employee population to try to get them, re-engaged and draw them back in.
That's interesting.
That's really cool.
Chris, let me ask you a question. So you guys are completely basing your financial model on getting paid by the carriers for the voluntary benefits. So when you go into a PEO, all the PEOs that we do business with, they already have all the voluntary benefit relationships currently set up. So how do you deal with that?
Well, that's a good question, and it kind of varies. Some of them, what we do is we just, we'll keep the incumbent carriers in there if they are a preferred carrier of ours already, because, so we work with every carrier that's out there, but we have 7 or 8 what we call preferred carrier relationships, and there's a number of things that go into that, but we would like to have a preferred carrier in there, which are usually, your usual household carrier names: Met, Voya, Chubb, Bankers, Trustmark, Transamerica, Guardian, Aetna. I've got my top 3 favorites, in which are consistent with the company's top 3 in terms of, the friendliness and the relationship that we have with them and everything else. But we would either just change the compensation dynamic of those voluntary products with the incumbent carrier, which typically means the actual payout on the compensation, in total from the carrier is going to go up because of the compensation that we have negotiated with them. So we're taking a split, but the overall comp payout is higher. So that would be the one case. The other case is consider changing voluntary carriers. So that, that's something that we would talk through if we were looking at an opportunity.
But you're not going in and just taking over broker of record and booting out the current broker, or are you?
No, I mean, brokers are our distribution. I mean, we want to partner with the brokers. We don't want to boot out brokers. So
I hate brokers.
Although, Tom, I think the play here is to say, hey, keep your existing medical guy and your dental vision guy. Just make me your system and voluntary guy. That way you don't have to mess with it, right?
yeah.
The other guy's got to work with you. All of the heavy lift is in the medical plan. Let them do that for whatever their fee is. And then once you get it, you go, hey, this guy's charging you too much. We'll just take that over. But that may be a year or two later.
Yeah.
The challenge with that,
Yes, sir.
Mike, is that they're making money on the voluntary currently. So if you say, make me your voluntary guy, then you're taking money out of their pocket,
Out of whose pocket?
the PEO.
Well, pay the PEO. I mean, there's enough in here. You structure it to pay the PEO.
Yeah.
Well, the
You'd
PEO is
have
also
to.
getting an enrollment system, enrollment platform for nothing. I mean, that's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, but Tom, be realistic. They're not gonna look at it that way.
Well,
I mean,
here's kind of the idea there, because that's a great point. First of all, the enrollment system, I've seen a lot of them that they're typically using, A, isn't very effective, or B, it's like part of the HRIS system, which that's not what it's not designed for enrollment capacity. That's not what the system or the technology was really built for. And they're likely paying for it or paid for it. In which case, they're not getting the participation levels that they would hopefully like to, and they're not generating the amount of revenue off of it that we could help them generate. So the idea is, if you bring us in as your voluntary solution, right, we're going to deliver this world-class technology to you at no cost. We're going to have a higher carrier compensation payout. Even though we're going to take a split of it, the comp payout's likely going to go up, and we're going to boost your participation numbers. So when you're averaging, 8% participation on voluntary on your current groups, we're going to bump that up to 30 or 40 or 50 or whatever that looks like. So it's usually a win-win in a long run. That's often a question that we get asked, and that's a question that comes up outside of the PEO world too. Like, why would I bring you guys? A broker might ask us, hey, look, we're getting 100% on the voluntary today. Why would I bring you in and give up part of my comp on the voluntary piece? And there's a couple of things for it. One, we're going to get rid of your costs for the system. Two, we're going to drive up your participation.
Yeah.
And usually between those two, you're more than making up for the commission that they have to give up.
Yeah, you're getting 100% of squat. So,
right.
How about 5% of a whole lot more?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But that's, go ahead, Tom.
I was going to say the other enrollment systems don't, they're not using this behavioral science and neuro linguistic selling approach and providing all the video content. I mean, yeah, it's a huge difference.
Yeah, it's not even, I mean, we're not even talking about the same sport,
Yeah.
let alone ballpark. But yeah, that's the idea. And a lot of the PEOs that we're working with today, all of them have been kind of a similar scenario where they had an enrollment platform, but it wasn't effective. I mean, when I was in the PEO world, hell, we showed up on site in person and enrolled everybody on paper, and our participation was very low.
Well, and it was 50% lower 30 days after you did the enrollment.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another important, I'm glad you mentioned that. One of the things that we also tout about our system is that our retention from an employee base is incredibly high, because people are making this buying decision on their own, right? There's not somebody talking them through it. There's not somebody whispering in their ear. They're leveraging all of the data and the information that we've provided for them. and they are making a purchasing decision on their own merit, which means they tend to stick with it. So if you look at our policyholder population across the board over time, usually in the voluntary benefits world, you're losing every year. Your attrition rate is higher than your new hires and your new sales rate. So over time, your penetration ends up going down slowly, but it goes down. So like, you know, I spent the last 10 years at an insurance carrier, a voluntary benefits carrier prior to TBX. And I'll tell you, every year on January 1st, we had to make up about 78% of our prior year's sales just to get back to zero. So when you look at the results that we have in terms of persistency, our penetration actually increases every year, year over year, versus decreasing because of attrition, because of people canceling policies and whatnot. I mean, there's always going to be turnover, and that's something that we just can't control. But outside of that, without turnover, we have a very, very high retention retention rate.
So this is really cool, Chris. Steve and I only have about 8 minutes left, and we got to jump on another call.
Yeah, this is it. This is, I mean, I don't need to walk you through the entire enrollment process. We're just talking about different products and all the subsequent screens. So, I mean, you've basically gotten a feel at this point for what the technology is capable of, the way that the system works, all of the different features and tools and support mechanisms that we've built in to help employees make decisions, the style and look of the videos. This is
okay.
This is what
we do. I mean, I'd like to have a follow-up call, talk about, you know, what the implementation looks like, and then maybe dive a little deeper into compensation and that, and just see how we get, you know, get your arrow in our quiver.
Absolutely.
And in the meantime as well, we'll start thinking about some PEOs that we think would be a good fit for this, and start getting our thoughts around how we could introduce this to the ones that we work with.
Yeah, and I think that this could play in the union space. It could play in the single employer space. I mean, you guys know way more than just the PEO space, but it kind of piqued my interest that's where you guys are coming from, Steve. So, you know, even down to target market is, you know, 150 employees plus in this. Implementation is about a 45-day implementation if it's a standalone group. And then we'll get the comp. I'll lay it out in an email to you, and then we can talk about it a little bit.
Sounds good.
My perspective is there's plenty to go around in this deal. So, there
Steve
you go.
And I work for free anyway.
Yeah, lately I kind of feel like I have been too. So, you know, the way it goes.
How many different PEOs do you guys work with?
We work with on a regular basis 4 that are, you know, ones that we're in constant contact with, and we have pretty good relationships with all 4 of them. So,
ballpark wise, what would you say those 4 employees? You know, what would you guess their total eligible life population to be combined?
The largest would be what, Tom? About 400,000 lives.
Yeah.
And the smallest one would be probably in the 75,000 lives.
Okay. Yeah, I think what we can do is, you know, I mean, the implementation piece is fairly simple. You know, as Mike mentioned, it's about 45 days. It might be a little bit longer with a PEO because we're talking about more plan options and things like that, a little bit more of a build time. But
and you mentioned Prism up front. How are you integrating with Prism, or are you?
We are integrated with Prism. So one of our clients, I guess it's not a client that comes through my organization. It's through a different region. We have 3 regions in the country, and I lead our West region. But so I don't know all the details, but Prism was part of that, And so we had to go out and build, and I'm assuming it's some kind of an API connection that we've built out with them to make that relationship work. But it's come up on several other occasions unrelated to that specific PEO where Prism was involved. So we've already got that built out essentially. So it's kind of a plug and play.
I think the other thing, Tom and Steve, is that 834 files to carriers that they may not have an API built out to are included in this. So there's not upcharges for them communicating with the carriers. TBX handles the billing for the voluntary, but typically gets out of the way of the carriers on the medical, dental, and vision. So that's kind of how the administration is done.
Great.
Awesome.
This looks great, Chris. I appreciate your time today. Mike, thanks for setting it up.
Yeah, you betcha.
One last question, Chris. How long have you guys had this up and running?
We have been in operation for about a decade.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know you guys got to get on another call. How about I circle back with you towards the end of the week, and then we'll pick out some times to do the second call. But let me give you, there's some collateral, Tom and Steve, that I think I can give you that walks through the onboarding, and then I'll share with you what I think the total comp is that's baked into this thing, so you guys can start to strategize.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Brilliant.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Mike.
Mike.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Chris.
it, guys.